lights go out and away we go then, and it's an even start between the two of them on the front row of the grid. Carl Johnston in the black Roadster and Danny Sylvester in the predominantly white Mark II, number 21. They head down towards Riches for the first time. It's Johnston that's going to slot into the lead of this race then as they turn their way through Riches corner now on towards the Wilson hairpin. That's Christopher Allison going a bit wide in the yellow car. You can see there from sort of 2/3 of the way back down the order. It's a very busy circuit. More than 24 of these cars having qualified for the race. One a bit out of shape there is the number 30 car as well. That's about halfway down the field, and then Christopher Allison has in fact now had a spin as well. So the leader's out of Palmer, heading down towards Agostini for the first time, and it's Carl Johnston from Sean Trainer now who's made his way up from 4th to 2nd.
Yeah, so the Class C Roadsters have made good starts. About half the field have locked up into the hairpin at Agostini that caused potential some issues, but they've all got through this corner. But it's Carl Johnston who's had a big slide there through the left-hander at Hamilton. I think he's an ex-rally driver, isn't he, Carl Johnston? So he's able to control that with perhaps more ease than some of the others. But he's new to racing, circuit racing this year. He leads from Sean Trainer, and we were right on board on the Alpha live stream with Dan Sylvester in 3rd position, who had an eventful Cadwell Park in the Hot Hats Championship a few weeks ago, where he had an engine blew. He travelled home to pick up a new one and stuck it in the race car, ready for the second race, and come from the back of the grid to 2nd impressively. But he's back in his Toyota this weekend, and he's there, the first of the Class B cars, the Mark II MR2s. He's there in 3rd position. It was quite an even split in qualifying, which hasn't necessarily been over the course of this season between the two types of car. There's Ben Rowe and Adam Lockwood, the championship leader, who's been on the podium 6 times this year but hasn't won a race yet. He was up next as they turn their way towards the end of the first lap of this 15-minute race, where we see Carl Johnston and the much more experienced in this championship Sean Trainer chasing after the leader.
Yeah, someone made a mistake there a little bit further. Was that Tim Heron possibly that got it a bit sideways coming out of Murray's? End of lap 1 then. It's Carl Johnston leading by just about half a second from Sean Trainer in 2nd place. Danny Sylvester in 3rd. Ben Rowe 4th. Then Adam Lockwood, Neil Stratton rounding out the top 6 at the end of this first lap. And again, Tim Heron a bit out of shape coming out of Riches there. It's side by side a bit further back. That's Billy Boggs in the number 99 car trying to make a move on the number 82. That's Andrew Ruthven. He goes through. Graham Mailings might get past both of them in that Roadster, the lighter car but less powerful car than the Mark II as they head down to Palmer. It's going to be Mailings in the 71 G&T Motorsport car all the way around the outside, and he takes the place away. That's for 7th, I think. It's a long got back from 6th to 7th. Neil Stratton it is in the yellow car in 6th position, but it's Mailings now 7th, Boggis 8th, and Tim Heron quite deep into the hairpin, actually in 10th place behind number 82, Andrew Ruthven.
Yeah, Adam Lockwood, Graham Mailings looking to make places, like you said, because he's quite a long way back. The driver who's the 2nd in the championship so far this season. He's had 3 podiums, and including that race victory, which came earlier in the season at Brands Hatch. And he's just then in something like 7th position at this stage. So both Lockwood and Mailings, the top 2 in the championship, struggling a little bit today. Sean Trainer, who's 3rd in the championship, mainly courtesy for a disqualification earlier in the season for eligibility, and that's just dropped him back in the championship a little bit. But after winning those 5 races in the season, he's still in contention. He's there in 2nd place, but he's struggling to stay with Carl Johnston. A big slide behind. That was Ben Rowe out of Nelson, the driver in 4th spot. Ben Rowe, who's been around the championship for some time, and he is under pressure from Adam Lockwood and Neil Stratton as well. A couple of the Roadsters, the later cars.
Into Murray's then they go. Lockwood it is with that advantage in the championship. It's been very consistent so far during the course of this season. 5th place on the road here at the moment. He's had 4 seconds, 2 thirds and 2 fourth place finishes so far, and that's a big sideways moment, I'm afraid, for number 17, Maxine Nichols, on the exit of Murray's. Not the exit of Murray's, was it?
Yeah,
It was the exit of Murray's, and she is back into the race as outbreaking Graham Mailings into riches. There was Billy Boggis in the number 99 car, so he goes up to 7th place, but we saw Graham Mailings fight back through the next couple of corners a lap or so ago, so we'll see if he's able to repeat that. And a little bit of a lock-up from Tim Heron as he tried to find a way past Andrew Rutherford as well. You've also got Veer Aldridge and Jim New not too far behind these two either. Graham Mailings again to the outside of Billy Boggis around Palmer, and he's done it again. I think he has gone through once more, so Graham Mailings goes back up to 7th place ahead of Billy Boggis.
Already though, he's 7 seconds behind the next car, so I don't think Mailings is going to get any further than 7th. Quite extraordinary, a huge gap up to the 6th position car ahead of Neil Stratton. But it's Cole Johnston who's a second out front now, ahead of Sean Traynor. 2:19.7 for Johnston, almost as quick as his qualifying time on that first flying lap of the race. Interesting that a few of these Mark IIs have lost their rear spoilers over the course of the last 12 months or so, haven't they? I don't think we've really seen that before. Tim Heron hasn't got one. I don't think Dan Sylvester has either. And Heron, you noticed, had a few lurid moments, didn't he, earlier on in the race. Don't really know if it makes a huge amount of difference in cars like these, but interesting to note.
Yeah, look at the size of that gap from 6th to 7th there. Graham Mailings in 7th place, number 71. Again, Billy Boggis just behind him in that 99 car. Graham Mailings, who's sometimes raced with his son Tom Mailings, hence the G&T Motorsport. But Graham going solo at the moment. There's Ruthven, number 82 as well, just ahead, the 51-year-old mechanical engineer from Meriden in Warwickshire, Andy Ruthven, who started racing back in 1999, did some Mini 7 racing between 1999 and 2009, the highest position of 7th in the championship in 2009, with a 3rd place at Rockingham that year as well. And after taking some time out of racing to spend it with his family, he's back into racing again in the MR2s. And look at this, 3 wide, and it's Andy Ruthven who is at the head of that little group now in number 82. It's as close as Billy racing there, wasn't it? As he goes around the outside, he gets ahead of Billy Boggs and of Graham Mailings as well, and up to P7. Yeah,
so this is quite a nice little battle pack that Ruthven's got to the head of. Boggis and Mailings side by side there. Mailings has made a few moves at Palmer. He's good at that corner. This time it's the inside line he's got. We've got Tim Heron just behind as well as Veer Aldridge, I think. Next up, but Mailings again has made that move. This time on the inside line through Palmer, but it's 2 by 2 down into the hairpin. Agostini, the inside line for Mailings. Following him through is Heron then. And he also gets past Billy Boggis. Veer Aldridge is going to try and get a piece of this as well. So for Billy Boggis, he's going to lose a number of positions in all of that, which didn't work out terribly well for him at all. I think the ex-short oval racer, Boggis, he's round the outside and grabs one of those positions back. But yeah, this battle is very entertaining for 7th spot. Meanwhile, the lead gaps come down to 9/10 because Sean Traynor has set a new fastest lap.
He has indeed 2:19.05 lap records in this Class C with 2:19.01 for Stuart Nichols, 2:17.78 in Class B. So he's got some way to go to break the overall lap record, but close to it within the class that he races in now. So here's this secondary group, headed by Andy Ruthven, number 82, and it's Graham Mailings just behind. So that's 7th, 8th, 9th, Tim Heron, a long-time competitor in this championship as well, ahead of Billy Boggis. And you've got Veer Aldridge and Jim New rounding out the top 12. Then there's another bit of a gap back to Gareth Baxter in 13th position. As the cars make their way to Coram once again, the leader Carl Johnston just flashes past our commentary box. I think the gap's gone out again, as it has. So 1.35 seconds, and it's a new lap record within Class C for Carl Johnston now, because he's done a 2:18 1:08.68, so he's extended that advantage over Sean Traynor. He's got the lap record as well. There's a big gap from 6th to 7th. There's also a good size gap from 2nd to 3rd. It's now more than 5.5 seconds between Sean Traynor and Dan Sylvester.
That's pretty much a second under the pole position time as well for Cole Johnston. There's at least 3 drivers getting track limit warnings. Now, very few drivers have actually got penalties over the course of this weekend. Will that change in this race? Because there are more drivers early in the race than ever getting warnings.
And we did have quite a number of times disallowed. I think about half a dozen different drivers had times disallowed in qualifying.
3 wide again, this time into Palmer, so they're going to have to sort themselves out. Graham Mailings, Tim Heron and Billy Boggett. Again, it's Mailings through here who is good and is able to get to the front of that pack. But is this all allowing Andy Ruffman then to get away just ahead? And he's had a 6th place best this year, his 7th currently, and Tim Heron's having a big slide and a catch, but he's going to lose time because of that. And that means Billy this has already gone past. We had Ulrich, maybe 2, and Jim Muir as well. Can't quite get there, I don't think, for Jim Muir. Now there's more cars on the grass. The race circuit being used in various different ways, it would seem, during the course of this race. That was Billy Boggett out over the grass, out of the left-hander at Hamilton.
And they're now through the right-hander at Williams to go back on to the Bentley Straight. There's about 4 minutes to go in this race. It seems to have flown by, doesn't it? That's Adam Lockwood. That yellow car is Neil Stratton, so they're 5th and 6th. And then this fight for 7th is the one that's taken most of our attention during the course of this race. Is Andy Ruthven a bit more comfortable now in 7th place, number 82 from Graham Mailings in 71. And then it's Boggis and Heron, who've both had dramas in the last few corners, who are in 9th and 10th places.
So they're making their way towards the end of the lap. So far they are behind the leader, who's already completed 5 laps. And consistency now for Cole Johnston, because he's only 100th of a second slower than he was on the previous lap, and has extended his lead out to over 2 seconds, the largest lead it's been all race long. Guess what? There's more drivers getting track limit warnings. At this stage, we believe they are only warnings, but it's another at least 3 drivers to add to the 3 on the previous lap, and there was more on the lap before that. So this is, for whatever reason, the MR2 Championship seems to be prone to that a little bit more than others this weekend. Ben Rowe is there in 4th, just ahead of Adam Lockwood, championship leader, remember. He's finished in the top 4 every race this season, either 2nd, 3rd or 4th. He has not finished as low as 5th, but that's where he currently is. He's trying to get himself up ahead of Ben Rowe. Ben, who had not finished inside the top 5 this season. So Ben looking for his best result here if he can hang on in this sport. So even if he loses one, it'll still be his best result of the season. Just up the road, the Class B leader, Dan Sylvester, who had his season best last time out at Mallory Park, which was the 3rd. He's in 3rd again today, but he does lead the Class B running. And he's won the last 3 races in that category, the final race at Brands and the 2 at Mallory Park. The overall championship is won by the overall results, but there are individual class championships at the end of the season as well.
There's Graham Mailings again. He's back ahead of Andy Ruthven now in the number 82 car, so that has been a change. They're about to come through Williams and onto the Bentley Straight once again. Boggis just behind them in 9th position, but there's more than 12 seconds between Neil Stratton in 6th and Mailings now in 7th. This is the battle for 4th position. Adam Lockwood trying to maintain this record of having finished only in the top 4 during the course of this season. Needs to get ahead of Ben Rowe to try to maintain that record. Ben, all the way from Devon, a long-time competitor in the MR2 Championship, which was inaugurated 15 years ago this season. As we watch the Sylvester car go through, relatively on his own at the moment in 3rd place, Danny Sylvester. And Rowe and Lockwood and Stratton. And Lockwood and Stratton in particular, both were Mark 1 exponents in the past, switching to Mark 3s over the years. They're competing in the top 6.
And about to lap the only Mark 1 left this weekend, which is that of Martin Collins, who's I think done most of the season. The aerospace fitter from Wolverhampton, who's having his first season of racing this year in a car that formerly raced in Malaysia But racing in the UK now, just going to lap down to those X-Mark 1 races. A car that David Pittard started his racing career in, a Mark 1 MR2, and he was the Nürburgring 24-hour winner this year.
We've done well for having 24-hour winners coming from 750 Motor Club ranks recently, haven't we? Because James Gallardo successful at Le Mans last month as well.
And he raced in stock catch here at Snetterton, I think.
Here is the race leader though, Carl Johnson, on his last lap because the clock has counted down to 0. He's still out in front by 3.5 seconds actually from Sean Traynor. So we go back to this battle for the back because Billy Boggis now has got Tim Heron right behind him, and indeed Graham Mailings as well. So Mailings has slipped back, hasn't he, over the last lap or so?
Mailings' race is bizarre, isn't it? Because a lot of the time we've been watching him, he gains the position, then we come back to him and he's lost a load again, and that's what's happened again. So this is a somewhat strange race for Graham Mailings. He's had a first, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a couple of sixths this year, but running much further back than that now. But for Cole Johnston, this has been a dominant performance on his first event here at Snetterton. He's had a couple of wins this season, which both came at Silverstone, but it looks like he's going to add to that. He's not been done the full season, so he's a bit further back in the championship standings, as Graham Mailings is on the grass now. Perhaps that's how he's been losing positions. He's done that many other times.
Yeah, and there's Ben Rowe still hanging on to 4th position from Adam Lockwood. But there's our race leader then, number 69, the man from Armagh in Northern Ireland, comes out of Murray's. He's heading to the checkered flag. We've got a 5-second penalty for him though, and it's not quite going to have a 5-second margin. Don't slow down over the line, Carl.
Sean,
what you do? Well, Sean Traynor is going to come through. That feels like more than 5 seconds to me. It was 3.57 seconds at the beginning of the lap, and it's 5.15 seconds the gap. So by 0.15 of a second after on adjusted times, Carl Johnston still wins from Sean Traynor in second, Danny Sylvester third.